Attention shoppers. Tonight on the checkout, the nightmare of choosing a financial advisor. Going overseas? Scott finds which cards you should definitely leave home without. And Ben focuses on buying spectacles online.
Before going overseas, we focus a lot on the cost of flights.
You could fly via Crimea.
Cheaper.
Syria.
Cheaper.
With Jetstar via the Korean demilitarised zone.
I am not flying Jetstar.
But we don't pay as much attention to the cost of getting foreign currency.
Carrying cash is handy, but keeping it secure can be inconvenient, which is why most Australians travel with plastic instead.
But it might be our cards that are really ripping us off.
Your Mai Tai.
Thank you.
Credit and debit cards are convenient, but you pay for this convenience, usually with an international transaction fee of about 3%. It's a bit like going on holidays with your bank, a foreign bank, and your card payment processor. And every time you buy something, they all get a cut.
And that's why they call it a Mai Tai.
There's also travel cards, which you can preload with foreign currency before your trip. They're touted as a way to avoid international transaction fees. But are they really cheaper?
Let's have a look at how they work. If you use a credit card overseas, Visa, MasterCard or American Express exchange your currency each time you buy something or get cash out. With a travel card, you make one big currency exchange with your bank before you leave. And this is where travel cards can trick you. It's easy to focus on the low transaction fees and ignore the exchange rate. The exchange rates travel cards offer are on average between 4 and 5% worse than standard credit or debit card rates.
Your tiny apples?
And that could cost you far more than what you saved on your cheap flight.
Getting a 5% better exchange rate with a credit or debit card is a good thing. But before you rush off and get 5% more drunk
And buy 5% more counterfeit DVDs while wearing 5% more Bintang singlets, remember there's generally that 3% international transaction fee too. So in principle, travel cards are only about 2% worse than credit and debit cards.
But then there's the flat fees. Most travel cards charge between $2 and $4 for ATM withdrawals, whereas most credit and debit cards charge between $4 and $5. But travel cards can charge fees for buying the card, closing the card account, and changing currencies on the card. And unless you know the exact amount of money you're going to spend on your holiday,
I do.
you might be charged a fee for topping up your card or getting the money back that you didn't spend on your holiday. So is that all clear?
Plus, if you run out of money, it can take 2 Australian business days to load more on the card. Which could be useful in some circumstances, but not in most.
But if you've been stung by travel cards, you aren't alone. Just ask this woman, who asked to remain anonymous.
I got an AB travel card when I went to South America thinking it would be cheaper, but by the time I'd paid for all the currency conversion and fees, it ended up costing me a fortune. Hey, I thought we said this would be anonymous. Yeah, great, big help.
Or this guy, who also happens to be.
I was also misled by NAB. They told me I could avoid all international transaction fees by using their traveller card. Turns out there was a 6.5% foreign exchange rate charge.
But unlike our anonymous person,
Oh, come on, guys, seriously.
Oh, sorry. Are you Kirsten Drysdale from the checkout?
I contacted NAB, but after about 10 emails and 2 or 3 phone calls, eventually they agreed they'd misled me. They offered me $750, which I accepted.
The cheapest way to travel is with a low-fee debit card, like this one.
It offers the superior exchange rate of credit and debit cards without any of the international transaction or ATM fees. Or if you prefer a credit card, these offer no transaction fees for purchases. They can be expensive for cash withdrawals.
And if you do use credit cards, pay them off fully and on time, so your savings aren't eaten up by extra interest charges. That way you can enjoy the cheapest possible holiday without any of the bull!
B, H, hexagon, Illuminati symbol, F.
And go. So, you've got bad eyesight, and that's bad news. According to scientists, eyes are the #1 way of looking at things. So you're gonna need some glasses. Come with me. Hey, don't be like that. Everywhere you look, cool dudes are wearing glasses. But we understand that glasses can be expensive, and you're not made of money. So what are you gonna do? Rob a bank? Listen, it's very important that you don't rob a bank, because there's another way of getting glasses on the cheap. Remember the internet? Well, it's not just for arguments with strangers and dating Meg Ryan anymore. Now, there are heaps of sites where you can get specs for a bargain. Now, you can get your eyes tested online, but we reckon it's still better to visit a trained professional.
I'm a trained professional.
No, you're not. You're two kids standing on each other's shoulders wearing a big coat. And this is why you should visit an optometrist in the terrifying, blinding light of the real world. There's no substitute for an expert, not just for getting the right prescription, but also for spotting signs of eye disease. So find one that bulk bills and get your prescription. Once you have your prescription, you can shop for frames and lenses online, which can be a lot cheaper than your bricks and mortar outlet.
Unless your health fund doesn't cover online frames.
That's true, but a lot of them do. Just check with your fund. Now, these sites will have a virtual try-on option, which looks like this. So, it's not exactly the Matrix. Plus, you don't get to know how the frames sit or feel on your face before you buy them. And this is why a lot of companies now offer home try-ons. You pick some frames that you want from their website, which they will deliver to your house. Then, you get to try them on, see how they feel, and get the opinion of your family and friends. Then usually you have a couple of days to decide which of those frames you actually want to buy. You send back the samples and they will send you a brand new pair of glasses with your prescription. So, what's the catch? Well, a lot of those companies that you're going to get your eye test aren't all that keen on giving you the information you need to take your business somewhere else, which is understandable, really, because eye tests only make up about 15% of those companies' profits, which just isn't enough. So a lot of these professionals will try and withhold this information from you. Now, they can't do that. It's yours, and you have a right to. Specifically, this is us. Some of them may try and withhold your PD, which is your pupillary distance measurement. Now, you need this in order to get a decent pair of glasses. So, make sure that you say, "Can I have my PD measurement, please?" Great work, Gus.
No.
And do this before you book your eye test. Now, a lot of reasonable optometrists like these guys will be happy to give you your information, although you can see why others, like these guys, would prefer not to unless you ask. So, in the interest of balance, here are some reasons to support your local optometrist. Online lenses may be cheaper, but our mates at Choice and their mates at Which ran into significant problems when trying to order complex prescriptions online. They found that they had problems with things like bifocals and progressive lenses. So unless you've got a simple script, getting a professional fit may be the way to go. Also, for a whole heap of reasons, it can be sometimes good to have a professional relationship in the real world with the person who sold you your glasses.
Like me?
No, you're not a real optometrist either. I'm so sorry about that. So, there you go. Everything you need to know about buying glasses online. I hope that makes things clear. Oh, I swear to God.
If you're a human, you want
strong, stimulated, revitalized, refreshed, fresh, shiny, and radiant, pampered, fortified hair.
You want
Liquidized crystals for millionized reflections. The replumping power of collagen. Shampoo for Australian hair.
Co-created by experts in Australian hair.
And because Australian hair loves getting on the piss,
A detox.
you want to quench your hair's thirst. Your thirsty, thirsty, dead hair. You can make it look better or worse. But while vitamins and fruit might make you healthy, they can't make your hair healthy because it's dead. What you can do, though, is clean it. So let's take a closer look at the science behind shampoo. Why don't we start here? At the Pantene Hair Science page, where their home hair lab conducts tests, such as, is your hair curly or straight? Okay, let's look somewhere else. Here's how shampoo works. Your pile of dead hair on your head gets dirty from crap coming out of your scalp and in from the world. So you wash it off using a shampoo that's mostly water, but also has soapy detergents that actually wash your hair. They tend to have the word sulfate in them. Then there is another kind of detergent which boosts foam. The foam doesn't really do anything, but we've been trained to think that bubbles equals clean. Then there are thickening agents, and sometimes a conditioning agent like these. Then there's stuff to make it smell good, and things like vitamins, nut extracts, and proteins, which make up a tiny proportion of the product, have no effect on performance and essentially exist to inspire marketers to come up with marketing. The detergents also strip your hair of its natural oil, which you replace with conditioner. Of course, if you want to put a price on the experience of shampooing, that's totally up to you. If you love the look, colour and smell of your shampoo, well, you just keep on keeping on. Experience. But you're probably about to wash that experience right off and use a conditioner. And if you like how your hair looks, feels and smells, that's probably your conditioner doing the heavy lifting. So worry about your conditioner if you like. But with shampoo, what you really need is the clean, not the other stuff.
While many have heard the tale of Ebenezer Scrooge,
Humbug.
few know of his other encounter with ghosts in Australia in 2014. When Scrooge considered hiring a financial advisor, he was visited once more by the spectre of his dead, but still very annoying, business partner.
Not you again. Tonight you will be visited by 3 ghosts who will help you choose a financial advisor. I don't need their help. Oh, you think that, but in 2011, when ASIC studied advice given to retirees, they found
39% was poor, 58% was adequate, while only 3% was good.
Despite that,
86% of customers thought they were receiving good advice.
oh, he looks horrible. How did he die? He's not dead. He just works for ASIC.
And so it came to pass.
I am the ghost of financial advice past. Recent past. In 2008, the system was rife with commissions.
This one is best for you. This one is best for me.
That scoundrel. And the more they convince you to invest, the more commissions they got. So should I invest more in this?
Yes, I think that would be good for you.
And the commissions continue to be paid over the life of the investment.
Around 3 million Australians were paying commissions and fees to advisors they weren't even in contact with. Some financial advisors were being paid by hundreds of clients without actually doing anything for them.
I just don't have the time.
So what happened? Well, several companies like Storm Financial collapsed. Oh, that's horrible. Yes, thousands of Australians lost their money and even their homes. No, I mean that. Then in 2012, Parliament passed the Future of Financial Advice Laws, FOFA, to protect consumers.
Oh, so it's all fixed. Is it fixed? Come back.
Oh, God, I hate ghosts.
But there were more policy poltergeists in store for Ebenezer Scrooge.
I am the ghost of financial advice present. So you're just the same ghost with a beard? It's never happened with Dickens. Come on. So those FOFA laws, Is everything fixed now?
Well, some things have got better, but the industry has changed. Now over 80% of financial advisors are owned or controlled by AMP and the Big Four! Yes, the Big Four! Oh.
Hang on, aren't you supposed to be a ghost?
Oh, yeah, yes, I am. Ooh. Anyway, the thing you gotta realise is that AMP and the big banks mainly flog you their own products. One ASIC study found...
Brains!
The other one.
Oh, AMP advisors recommended AMP financial products in 93% of cases.
And the products might not seem like they're from the same companies because they've all got different brands, whether they be life insurance, superannuation or share packages and other investments.
Fine, I'll just use an independent financial advisor then.
Well, good luck finding one, because advisors controlled by the banks don't necessarily promote their allegiances. Take Financial Wisdom, for instance. On their website, there's a lot of...
Wisdom is discovery. Wisdom is knowing. Wisdom is a journey.
But very little about them being a...
wholly owned subsidiary of the Commonwealth Bank.
In fact, all the banks and AMP have aligned advisors that trade under different logos and names. And we mean a lot of names. Here are some of AMP's.
Yeah, but so what? Are they selling bad products?
Yes! Oh, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, they mainly sell the same products. But you've got to remember that their companies make more money if they can get you to invest in their products.
You should invest in shares or increase your life insurance. How about a margin loan?
Shouldn't I pay off my mortgage first?
You're such a Scrooge.
Are you really on my side?
Actually, since the FOFA laws, he actually has to act in your best interest.
Oh, did you feel that? Something terrible just happened.
What's wrong?
It's like I have to suddenly care about you.
Of course, that doesn't mean that they can't think that one of their products is in your best interests.
This is a great product for you.
So if you want them to consider a broader range of products, you need to ask them.
Is it better than my industry super fund?
Oh, see, this is good. Now he's got to justify his product over the industry super fund, which generally have higher rates of return.
Will you look at that? Look at the time. I am late for golf. So.
Another thing FOFA tried to do was phase out commissions.
Oh, hooray.
With a few small exceptions. Life insurance, you can still get commissions of up to 30%.
Please, somebody save him. He's my meal ticket.
And advisors can still be paid in parties too. Some property investments can also attract commissions.
You're alive. You should celebrate by investing in a Gold Coast apartment.
And they still have asset-based fees, where your advisor gets paid a certain amount based on how much you invest in a product. Now, you might think that sounds like a commission, but I'm sure you'll understand the important legal distinction if you just analyse this diagram.
Okay, I understand that, but why are we at a school?
Oh, I've got to pick my kids up. I was hungry.
So how do I know if these commissions are actually being paid?
Well, once a year you'll get a fee disclosure statement.
Ah.
Which doesn't actually have to disclose if you're paying commissions.
Oh, hang on. Aren't commissions fees?
No, they're very different. See? But once every 2 years, you're meant to get a letter which not only shows you all of your fees, including the commissions, but also gives you the option to opt in if you want to continue to pay these fees.
Humbug. Okay, so under these FOFA laws, the financial advisor has to act in my best interest. I will at some point get told what commissions are being paid, and I can opt out. That sounds pretty good.
There's just one problem.
What? Oh, ghosts!
Yet Scrooge's regulatory nightmare was about to get even more confusing.
Ooh, awake, Scrooge. I am the ghost of financial advice future. Ooh, ow! You think I like this? I thought ghosting was all nude pottery with Demi Moore. Now get up, we're going to the future. Sorry, future's this way.
Wow, this is different. The new iPhone's got a bigger screen. So what else has changed?
Well, remember those laws they had that were going to change the industry? Well, they wound them back. First, they got rid of the opt-in letter.
Can you imagine? They wanted me to write to my clients every 2 years. What a hassle.
But you don't mind continuing to charge me all the time.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to do that. That's no hassle at all.
So how has that change good for me?
Well, that's less mail every 2 years for you and bigger boats for me.
But doesn't he have to act in my best interests?
Yeah, they watered that bit down too.
A really big boat.
It used to be a general obligation, and now it's like a 5-point checklist.
Maybe I'll have to go without the helipad.
But a 5-point checklist, that's still going to protect consumers, right?
To be honest, no one really knows.
But you should know. You're the ghost of financial advice future.
Yes, recent future. They also allowed commissions for general advice so that bank tellers could upsell you bank-owned products, but only if they don't take into consideration your actual financial circumstances.
You mean I'll be able to get advice that doesn't take into account my personal objectives, financial situation, or needs, which pushes the product of a bank so that the teller can get a commission, and all of that for free? Wow!
That sounds really hard to justify.
Oh, it is.
They're broadly about making sure that staff in banks are able to recommend, I'll have to rephrase that because it's actually legally incorrect. Please don't use that.
See, staff aren't recommending products. That would be illegal. They're just giving you general information that might guide you towards some of their employers' products, which is totally legal.
So they're allowing commissions that customers don't know about. Isn't that the sort of thing that caused these problems in the first place?
I don't know. I'm not the ghost of financial advice past. Hang on. How can you see us?
I see dead people and dead financial reforms.
And with that, the curiously detailed financial policy-based haunting of Ebenezer Scrooge was complete, just as his annoying but dead business partner had foretold.
What a nightmare. Now what am I doing today? Definitely cancelling that. No, Scrooge. The right financial advisor can be helpful. You just need to be careful.
The Financial Service Ombudsman has tips for dealing with people like that. Like, take notes of all meetings and conversations. This can be crucial if there's ever a dispute. Make sure the statement of advice actually reflects the advice you asked for. Ooh, and keep asking questions until you understand.
Why have you got your fingers crossed when you say low risk?
And if you're still concerned about conflicts of interest, then the Independent Financial Advisors Association ensure their members have no link to product manufacturers, receive no commissions, and no asset-based fees.
Something is desperately wrong.
Why doesn't everyone just use them?
Because they've only got 9 members. But there are a growing number of firms that will just charge you a direct fee for their advice, and then any commissions or asset-based fees will be handed back to you.
Does that mean that they charge me more?
Not necessarily. Although ASIC says that good advice may cost between $2,500 and $3,500 a year, which may be...
What? I don't have that kind of money. Why didn't you tell me that at the start?
Bah, humbug. What a Scrooge.
I'm Stephen Goddard, Chair of the Owners Corporation Network. If I could say one thing, before you start renovating your home unit, ask yourself, whose property am I altering and whose permission do I need? In an apartment, altering common property needs the approval of the Owners Corporation before you start. Works, like penetrating the ceiling to install an exhaust fan, replacing external windows or installing a balcony awning, even changing tiles on the bathroom floor, are renovations which affect common property. If you don't get approval, you run the risk of a court order to reinstate common property to its original condition. Remember, no matter how much it bothers you to ask others for permission to renovate your living space, you're the one who decided to live inside a new community.
Welcome to FUtube's closing down sale, where you get
2 presenters for the price of 1.
I'm Zoë Norton Lodge. Our first complaint comes from Tyrone about budget rental cars.
I was trying to book a car for my mum through Budget, and then I found that if I used her login, the quotes were almost twice as high.
Turns out Tyrone's mum is a member of Fast Break. That's a budget loyalty program that promises to get you your car quicker.
It's designed specially for Budget's most valued customers. And when you see some of the prices they're quoted, you can understand why. It's so outrageous, people have even taken to the streets.
Demonstrators protesting against a range of budget measures.
Budget said that
the most likely situation is that the fast break number is linked to a corporate or government agreement.
So there are clearly a few scenarios in which Budget overcharge people. They just aren't sure which one it is.
There's your answer, Tyrone.
But my mother's a pensioner.
Oh, is she a corporate pensioner?
Nope.
Is she in government?
No.
Well, we're still trying to get to the bottom of this one, but it does seem like another example of a loyalty program taking you for granted.
Just because you're loyal to them doesn't mean they'll be loyal to you.
So if you don't want to wait for a rental car, make sure you check out how much Budget charges with Fast Break and without it, because Fast Break's benefits might come at a price that'll blow your budget.
Our next complaint comes from an angry mob of cat people and cats.
Amy and I are disgusted. Whiskers have reduced the size of their products and we're still being charged the same amount.
And with at least 2 tigers to feed, we can see why Amy's owner is annoyed.
Each pouch in this packet is 100 grams and in that packet it is 85 grams.
As virtually all our viewers have noted, Whiskers have recently downsized their pouches by 15%. Quentin, Marcus and Duncan all wrote to Whiskers asking them why, and they all received the same baffling response, that the new size aimed to
reduce any confusion about how to correctly feed cats.
And let's face it, that's a legitimate concern.
We do actually agree with this part though.
It may assist with overfeeding.
And it will also assist with overcharging. Although Whiskers claim they've lowered the prices and it's up to retailers to pass them on. Anyway, their major point is
the new pouches have been reduced from a 100-gram format to an 85-gram format in line with consumer trend.
It's not a consumer trend, it's an anti-consumer trend. Lots of companies do this and people absolutely hate...
We're out of time.
No, we've got like 20 more things to get through.
The end of season party started.
Okay, fine. Well, F you Arnott's for making the original Tim Tams 11 biscuits but making all the good new flavours 9 biscuits. That's hardly...
A packet of Tim Tams that never runs out.
And F you Harder for setting Kate Blanchett up with that moron.
You have 2 wishes left.
Then we'll have 2 more of those.
Panadol used to have 24 caplets a box, now only 20. F you painkillers.
Over to Tom, who wonders if grilled healthy burgers can really call themselves healthy when their burgers have more kilojoules than a Big Mac. Look, probably not, Tom, but take it up with the ACCC because they don't have parties.
Warren asks why canned soup has weird numbers instead of use-by dates on the can. Well, Australian Food Standards says food with a shelf life of more than 2 years doesn't need use-by dates, so those numbers tell you when the product was made.
So this soup was made on E71124.6B.
What a great day that was.
Look, you can probably work it out by going to the soup websites if you want, and only if you don't have anything better to do, like go to a party.
Ah, so that's what those soup numbers mean.
Alison says Fit and Fast gyms charge $9.95 each quarter for the privilege of not increasing their fees because
it will keep you motivated so you feel safe and secure to keep your quickies up with us.
We don't even want to know what that means, but F you, Fit and Fast.
Peter has sent us this ad from Telstra which says
Telstra is in no way involved in or liable for this advertisement.
Or for any of these either, apparently. F you, Telstra.
And F you, whoever's involved.
Or liable.
Finally, Joey noticed that when Baby Love nappies say they absorb 5 cups of liquid, they don't mean 250 millilitre cups. They mean these teensy little 70 ml cups. They're just taking the piss, and not as much as you thought.
Oh no. I got Baby Love to cater the party. F you, Baby Love.
F you, everyone.
We did it.
Bit rushed though?
Oh, don't worry. We were in no way involved with or liable for that F YouTube.
Oh yeah, so come we got those Telstra lawyers.